Hey, good afternoon. My name's Ken Long. You can reach me at longke@yahoo.com. I publish work at tortoisecapital.net for financial professionals and at patreon.com/Ken Long for financial professionals. And my public videos are at youtube.com Ken Long Tortoise. So I want to talk about three tasks today. The first one, generating wholesale content efficiently with Koala Writer. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you in a second here, is we're going to pick a broad topic with multiple layers or lines of operation. And this should have a lot of different features that we can write about with a collection of essays. So a sample would be the psychology of professional trading. There's a lot of elements to that, so I know I'm going to get a wide set of essays. What I'm going to do inside Koala Chat is I'm going to run a prompt to generate topic sentences to come up with 5 compound topic sentences. Each compound topic sentence is going to be one large individual sentence, and in parentheses it's going to be loaded up with keywords that are optimized for search engines and generative engines, so that the essays that are written are going to get a lot of traction with search engines and AI. After I've got those 5 compound topic sentences, I'm going to show you how to take the Koala Chat and write one single example article using what I call the iceberg model of professional writing without the fluff. And that's going to give you a nice package of 5 or 6 different pieces of writing that are aligned with that topic sentence and which are nested together in expanding levels of detail. So depending on your audience or the time available, you can pick how far down that stack you want to go. After I show you how to do that in Koala Chat, which is powerful, especially if you use your words up pretty quickly, you can use your messaging in KChat to keep writing. But if you have a reasonably sized account with Koala Writer, you can use the bulk writer. So I'm going to show you how to take those 5 compound sentences over to Koala Bulk Writer and load that up into the stack so that the bulk writer can write all that stuff in the background. And it's going to have instructions that allow it to bring our standard essays in a standard template around 2,500 words, and we'll take a look at one sample. So that's what we'll do right now. So first, let's pick that broad topic, the psychology of professional trading. Then I'm going to go find the topic sentence generator. Let's see if I can do that. So I'm going to use GPT-5. I got real-time data on because I need to search for the live keywords in the world. So I'm going to hit the prompt library. All right, so I've opened up my prompt library. I'm going to scroll down until I find my compound topic sentence generator. This one will default to creating 10 compound sentences, and each sentence should have powerful direct language. I'll let you read that on your own, easily copied. And I'm just going to ask it for 5 compound sentences on the subject of psychology of professional trading. So let's see, when I hit run, let's see what it does. That all looks good. Now, after I hit go, for some reason, it gave me 10 compound sentences, but that's fine. So it's following my required structure from the prompt: action, explanations, why it's important, what we gain if we do it, and what the consequence would be. And it includes at least 10 SEO keywords in parentheses. So the first one: master emotional regulation to dominate financial markets by identifying cognitive biases and maintaining discipline under pressure. And, well, why? Well, you'll make rational decisions that maximize profits and minimize losses. But if you ignore your emotions, then impulsive trades will erode your account balance. So you can see it's telling us what we're supposed to do and in detail what it is, why it matters, what we get if we follow their guidance, and then the consequence of not. And then it's given me 10 typical SEO keywords in parentheses. Now, for this to work properly in Bulk Writer, I've got to make that all one sentence. So I'll show you how we do that here in a second. But the first thing I want to do is just show you that it's given me quite a wide range of topics. It gave me a prompt that said, hey, would you like to expand that already? So that prompt will also sort of do this automatically inside Koala Writer. It even gave me 5 more because there's so much more that's available. Do I want to turn these into paragraphs or expand them into full article outline next? Sure, just for the heck of it. So this is how you can use the Koala chat to develop your content if you've run out of word credits for the article. This requires you to do a little bit of work. And now what it's doing is expanding into paragraphs or full articles. And now you can see that that first one, Mastering Emotional Intelligence in Trading, gives me a full paragraph and all of the keywords. And you can see what it means by expansion. That's all embedded in that prompt. Would you like me to continue this to a full structured article with introduction, subheadings, and conclusion? Yes, I would. So this is just native within the Koala chat. So now it has produced a fully structured article built from the paragraphs above. It's fully optimized for SEO, professionally formatted, and suitable. Oops, where did we go? Suitable for finance, trading, or psychology audiences. So there's my paragraphs. And again, it expanded that into a full-blown article. Gives me pieces and parts. In this case, it's given me 5 chunks and a conclusion. I can go and add an SEO title, meta description, and all that jazz, and to make it suitable for publishing as a blog post or article. But you've seen already that the Koala chat is pretty darn powerful. So all I'm going to do right now is let's take this first compound sentence and take that over to the Koala Writer. And if I go to the article queue, I'm going to use my defaults. I'm going to just call this a sample project. Create the sample. I'm going to use GPT-5. It's a blog post. And all I'm going to do is drop that whole compound sentence and keywords in there. What I'm going to do is take out the period and the quotation mark in order to make that one giant single nuclear topic sentence that's going to get expanded. I'm going to pick default SEO optimization, no images or videos. I'll just pick the default, although because I want to do a longer version, I'm just going to pick let me go 10 to 12, so I get 2,500 words. I'm going to write it to a person, so I want it in second person. I'll use deep research. That allows it to do a lot more reasoning, and the real-time data allows it to search. I'm going to use for psychology. I'm just going to use the web. Although a lot of times if I'm doing technical writing, the Google Scholar is the way to go for that. I'm going to include the external FAQ section, key takeaways, improve readability, because why not? I'm going to go to advanced options. And let's see. For the custom outline, this is where I would paste in the template for a standard iceberg model. So let me show you how we do that. So briefly, I went back to Koala Chat, went to my prompt library. My second one is this iceberg model, and I'm just going to select that whole thing. Copy. I'm going to go back to my custom outline. Control V, paste that rascal in there. Now, I'm going to hit create article. It would give me a large, beautiful article. I'm going to show you a sample. It's just as we speak now on November 10th, I've used up my 2.5 million words this month, writing about 800 articles that are in my stack already that I'm parsing out. So I've already used up my monthly allocation. But if all I would have to do is hit that to generate the outline, and it would come over to the article. We could find it over here in the article queue once the outline is done. So it's paused because my usage limit has been reached already. But what I'm going to do is take you to one of these other articles, all of which were written in that iceberg model. And I'll show you what one of the articles looks like. Now, before I open up the article to show you, I need to give you a quick look at the theory behind this iceberg model. So I call this professional AI writing without the fluff, transforming communication using mastering precision writing techniques to get rid of buzzwords, deliver clear, actionable content. Foundational core. Clarity, conciseness, consistency, no buzzwords. That's the essence of communication. By getting rid of buzzwords, we achieve those features right there. So you want to use plain English whenever you can. This becomes the basis of a professional writing style that we can define in Koala Chat and Koala Writer so that it always writes like us. So when you're writing and you're checking your final work, you can use these 4 points for quality control. Did I get rid of buzzwords and filler? How's it sound when I read it aloud? Is there truly one idea per paragraph? Is there a clear and direct takeaway? Never leave the reader wondering, so what or what do I do next? Nothing unusual here. Depending on the style, you adapt your tone by context, obviously. So here's what I mean by the iceberg communication model. We're going to start off with the biggest idea from that topic sentence and do a 10-second bumper sticker or a slogan. The next section will be 30 seconds of a radio advertisement. We'll do a 1-minute video. That becomes a pretty good target for a YouTube video script. We'll do a 3-minute elevator speech with 400 to 500 words if you were trying to sell somebody to invest in you. And then finally an 18-minute TED Talk of 12 to 1,500 words. Now, there are times when I put a 9-minute speech in there, like a commencement address. High school kids don't want to listen for 18. So a 9-minute speech, optionally, you can fit inside there for about 800 words that gives like 3 or 4 good ideas as takeaways. Normally with a 3-minute pitch, you want one big idea and a couple reasons and show them the risk that they're avoiding. So that's going to be the structure. Now, if you put that into the outline, the bulk writer will take that compound topic sentence with all those keywords, and it will build out all 5 of those things in a single output. Koala Chat will do that as well. And what that does is it allows you to pick and choose the length and the depth of what it is that you need to do. So here's what that precision prompt might include. You could cut and paste that just like that. The topic sentence framework that I already showed you, it has actions, explanations, benefits, consequences, calls to action. And then the content expansion strategy is simply expanding those topic sentences into comprehensive articles where you go introduction, understanding, benefits, risks of an action, and implementation. And that takes you along the pathway of reasoning to help you make the sale. So that's action steps for this. I'm actually using this little briefing as a way to develop a business with a recently retired general officer, a 3-star general who's a friend of mine. I used to write strategy pieces for him. And I use this model to write white papers and speeches and project proposals for him to brief senior national leaders. So I know this stuff works on the professional side. All right, so let's take a look at what one of those article packages might look like. All right, so this one is an iceberg package I called the Catalyst Change Agents Playbook. It's how to drive transformational change from outside of the corner office. You don't have to be a leader in a formal sense to drive transformational change. In fact, you can do an awful lot of good if you're not connected directly to the chain of command, because it allows people to look at your ideas with a fresh set of eyes, and you're not compelling them to do things. You got to persuade them. And for transformation, you actually want them to embrace the ideas. So being a catalyst rather than a direct report leader can give you some long-term advantages. So the level 1 surface level, the 10-second bumper sticker, is simply that one. And then the 30-second radio ad is this one. And then that would be the audio script. Then this is the one where I'm talking about a 1-minute voiceover. And that's your scenes for a 1-minute YouTube short. Here's the 3-minute elevator speech, the substantial depth. And it gives you the lines of reasoning. And I've asked it to bolden the most important words for emphasis. And then 5 would be the 9-minute commencement speech. And this one I actually use that intermediate one. So this is what a 9-minute speech would look like. And there's 3 or 4 big points, first, second, and third in a logical way. And then finally the 18-minute TED Talk, which gives you a much extended conversation with lots of takeaways. So now what you can do with this, I actually had it at the end. Go ahead and make a list of keywords and important frameworks as reference documents, because why not? And so what that does is it gives you a way to take a single compound topic and then expand it into a large piece of well-aligned writing around a single topic. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to shift to take a look at NotebokLM, and what we're going to look at is how to create a compound meta article. I'm going to use a PDF program called Nitro PDF to create a large source for NotebookLM. And the reason I want to do that is I want to curate a bunch of proprietary knowledge that's going to help me reduce the amount of hallucination by building out a strong reference library. So I have dozens of smart second brains. A lot of these are for my trading business, some for the Army, handbook of cognitive biases, etc. So we're going to take a look at the one I use for my traders, 5 frames. Now in this notebook, I have a total of 263 sources. Now you'll notice that a lot of these, once we get into this, are entitled archives. So the archive turns out to be a way to maximize the storage space of all of these slots. So I get 300 slots. Each slot can hold audio or text files. The audio can hold about 10 hours of a good MP3. It'll make you load an MP3, it'll make a transcript. Or if you take the audio and convert it to a transcript in something like Dragon Naturally Speaking, you'll find that the text file is an awful lot smaller than the audio file. And what you can do is you can fill up each one of these slots till it's almost 200 megabytes in size, meaning you can take one of these archives and put about 10,000 pages of PDF in there. So instead of just taking a short audio transcript of about 10 hours, that would give you, 100 pages of transcript. You can actually make that 10,000 pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Nitro PDF and I'm going to make a compound source out of multiple PDFs. Now, just to fast forward, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go to an archive of essays that the Koala writer wrote for me on a certain topic, and I'm going to take all of that material, hundreds of essays, and stack them into one giant archive into a single PDF, and then I'm going to roll that PDF as one of these sources. And in that way, I can create a reference library of all my proprietary content, things that I've said, things that I've researched, things that I've had Koala Writer write for me, in which I proof to make sure it's correct. And I can use that to create this enormous body of knowledge, which you can see and I have an index that tells me what's in each one of these articles. Now, what makes NotebookLM pretty slick is if I select all of the sources, I can come over and generate a mind map, which might give me something like this. Now, this is a mind map on a single document for one of those sources, and it'll tell me everything that's inside that document. So I can follow professional tradings to trading system component and architecture, which decomposes into entries, exits, timeframes, market context, which decomposes into specific patterns. And then I can keep building that out. So the supported spring crossing, the explanations of why this is a low-risk entry and a prerequisite. Now, what makes NotebookLM pretty slick is if I select all those content areas and ask it to make a giant mind map, and then I click one of these topics anywhere, you'll see that it will take that supported spring crossing and it will send a standard prompt to the reference library and find every place where the supported spring crossing is in the larger context of entry strategies. So it's looking across literally hundreds of millions of words to find all of the things that I've said about that over the years. And it gives me this nice structured report from the chat, and every one of these little numbers is a footnote to one of those sources, and if I hover, it'll tell me a little more about what I want. Well, that's not bad. I can actually fill up this chat window with many of these little reports that are simply triggered by hitting the mind map. So if I do a mind map on the entire body of knowledge, there could be 300 or 400 topics in there. And what that tells you is there's plenty of opportunity for the AI to generate our standard topic sentences, or issues or insights that we want to write about. So this is a nice way to gather the information that you know is high quality that can drive your bulk writer. Now, in addition to the mind map, I can come to the reports section, and I can click one of these standard reports called like briefing, study guide, blog post. It'll make an audio blog interview, like a podcast. It'll do a video. And all of those are pretty good. It'll make flashcards for study, and those are pretty good. So if I took the same chat window prompt, which was a single line, what do these sources say about the SSC, supported spray crossing? I could come up here to the briefing or the study guide. When I click that report, it's going to give me 3 or 4 times more information, a deeper dive, than this simple call and response from the prompt. But the real magic is if I go to create your own, I can take the entire article essay that we used in the bulk writer, and I can drop that in order to configure a standard template report. So this is an example where I can use Koala Writer to help improve the outline of essays that would work for all of my topic sentences, turn that into a template, and then I could either have Koala Chat or Koala Writer, or I could come over to NotebokLM and have it write me this configured report on my vast amount of curated knowledge. So there's a way that you can use NotebokLM and Koala in tandem in a very powerful way. So we're already getting a little long on this video, so I'm going to move right along with your permission. All right, now for the third and the final section, what I want to do is I want to show you how that you can go from no knowledge in an area to create a rapid research protocol that lets you generate a comprehensive overview of a new content area. What I showed you in the last section under part 2 was how can I use my area of expertise to develop these articles? So I've got a career's worth of work in those areas. But what do I do if I've got a new area that I don't know anything about? Well, I'm going to use Koala, the Koala Chat, to help me create a rapid research protocol to generate comprehensive overview of a new content area. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that prompt. I'm going to drop a little seed in there and say, tell me something about that topic area. And then it's going to generate an enormous outline of a body of knowledge. And from that, I can put that in the chat window and then use that as a reference to have the Koala pick topic sentence out of that array of that body of knowledge. This gives me visibility over the entire new area I'm interested in without even me having to be an expert. I can already see some things that I want it to do. So the way I'm going to implement that is I'm going to come to the Koala Chat and go to my prompt library. What I want to show you is this is the prompt that I used, and this may be the most powerful thing I show you. This is the prompt that I used to generate the research assistant. I said, I want you to construct the most powerful and comprehensive search pattern and protocol and research directive for an AI agent to go into the world and come back with an amazing set of comprehensively complete resources that are a great sample to represent both the depth and breadth of a new area of inquiry in order to establish the baseline cognitive architecture, a mind map, if you will, of the new area. It is a prompt that generates a mission essential set of literature, both practitioner and scholar, around which we can organize a thoughtful and comprehensive deep dive. This is a prompt I should be able to give to any competent AI like Grok, ChatGPT, Koala, Gemini, to gather a reliably sufficient set of an initial starter set of literature and references. So run that through Claude 4.0, and this is what it came back with. This is a prompt that I can now add directly to the prompt library, which I've done. So it called it the Comprehensive Domain Discovery and Literature Mapping System. So I want to execute comprehensive domain reconnaissance to establish foundations. So it comes up with, and I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it's going to come back with all sorts of areas to investigate, how to find different qualities of literature in the ecosystem, like seminal books, landmark papers, classic texts, foundational and theoretical frameworks. So it's looking for the foundational canon. That's tier 1. That's the foundations of a new body of knowledge. Where did we go here? Oops, there we go. Below tier 1, it identifies things like cutting-edge frontiers, emerging methods, practitioner bridges, so things that are working in the business world. And again, it's looking for things like implementation guides, case studies, practical applications, industry application. So it's going to look for the ways that people, like practitioners, are putting theory into practice by searching for those kinds of domain words. It'll look for critical perspectives to challenge assumptions. It'll look for expert testimony, expert ecosystem mapping, and so forth. So when it finally gets done, it's going to map the cognitive architecture to include various research methods. It'll identify gaps in knowledge, which is a place to focus researchers or look to add value to people. It can break things up into beginner, intermediate, advanced, or practitioner. It can consider academic sources, geographical diversity, cultural diversity. It will evaluate the body of knowledge that it comes back with. Is it really comprehensive? Is it really useful? Is it still timely and current? And it'll give me the final deliverable structure of a new cognitive area. Executive summary, stratified bibliography, a map of the knowledge, what experts map the system like, how I would learn to achieve different levels of expertise, looking for knowledge gaps so I can find research opportunities, and then anything that emerged from the search methodology that was of interest. So when I run that prompt, it'll say, we're ready to run it. Just give me your target domain, and it should be able to run on any of those areas. So I did that, and I said, why don't you give me a summary of the concept of a vision quest across multiple cultures because I'm doing some studies on that of my own. And what it gave me was an amazing summary of what Vision Quest is, places I could go to get foundational works, both in the Western literature and the indigenous ways of knowing, contemporary syntheses. So it's given me all of the things that I need to, and then it creates a domain architecture map. You can see Native Americans, Australian, African, Arctic, different mythological, symbolic frameworks. So there's an enormous cognitive mapping. I could never have thought of this on my own. Methodological approaches that are used by researchers to understand information across different cultures. Lots of practical applications. You can actually write a handbook out of this stuff and develop teachable information. Places for future directions of research, and then who the experts are in the area and what the nature of their cognitive maps look like, who the thought leaders are, where are the institutions located that are doing this work, are there research labs and centers out there, who are the professional organizations I could contact, publication ecosystem with tier 1 journals, specialized journals, where the knowledge gaps are, limitations of current methods, where the difference between theory and practice is, and emerging questions that don't have answers yet. So what this really does is give me a way, and now it's going to build me, if I wanted to get smart on this, where I could go to start learning to become skilled. And it describes sort of the state of the art of the quality of research that's in the area of vision quests. Pretty good theory. There's more work needs to be done on empirical practice that is published. There's a lot of different ways to research it methodologically. There's a decent number of ways to validate it practically. There are plenty of cultures to examine. And then this gave me some search methodology notes. This is where the keywords can often come. So my point is, me not knowing anything about vision questing, I can run that prompt, and now I have darn near expert cognitive map of that whole area, which I can use the Koala writer to begin to develop some background information and to do some interesting writing for me. And a lot of that's going to lead to educational products that is part of my business. So I wanted to show how we can use Koala Writer, Koala Chat together in cooperation with NotebokLM for things that we're already expert in, but then things that we're not yet expert in, but we want to add to our repertoire. So that's everything I wanted to say. I hope I didn't drone on too long. I'm happy to answer questions if you have any. And you can reach me at Ken Long at longke.yahoo. My website's Tortoise Capital, patreon.com, Ken Long, and then YouTube channel, where I turn a lot of these scripts into videos for my clients and my students. So, hey, thanks for your kind attention, and let's get out there and do good work.
me, those contracts are looking like at will employment, like fire whenever I want, so be careful about that. The founder of 2 tech companies, one of which I'm building in public. For the last 2 years, I've been asking the really hard questions to see if I can build a perfect work culture. And today's hard topic is workplace surveillance. So while I was in corporate, I actually was a victim of workplace surveillance. And with the rise and fall of remote work, I actually see more companies leaning more towards monitoring what their employees do while at home. Personally, I think this is a lack of trust because if we're being honest, I don't think any employee could dedicate a full 8 hours to just working at a screen. But what are your thoughts? Public, for the last 2 years. One thing I would say about life is everybody has a story. And a lot of people are lost in life. They don't know what they want to do, so they kind of stumble upon other people's journeys, adopt it as their own. They're like, it doesn't work for me, this is not working, I'm not making as fast money, I'm not going. One thing I would definitely say is you will find far more success knowing more about yourself than taking on somebody else's life and personality. I'm building in public. And in the last 2 years, I've been on a mission to see if it's possible to build a perfect work culture.
I would check myself into a mental hospital today, but I have things to do.
It's been a while, but I told you guys it was really hard to build and record at the same time. So I had to make a choice. And unfortunately, the sacrifice was social media. I do come with results. We are about 95% done with Tesley. That is good news, right? Here, hold on. Difficult position I've ever had. This is not sponsored whatsoever, and you couldn't pay me to tell you guys what I'm about to show you. So okay. A month and a half ago, you guys know I went to New York for Microsoft release of their new laptops and tools, and I fell in love with this sapphire color. I'm not even a blue girl. I love pink, but I just could not stop staring at it. I really just thought it was mesmerizing. And from that point on, I was like, I should transition my team to these devices from, us having other products, just because I'm unhappy with it now. So they reached out to me just as I was about to buy it. And they said, hey, Teresa, we heard you love the sapphire color. And guess what, guys? They sent it to me. Look how beautiful this color is. Again, this is not sponsored. They don't have to pay me to say this. This is gifted, but not sponsored, okay? And this is the laptop. It is gorgeous. Now, I'm not familiar with Surfaces. I've worked on Surfaces for quite some time, especially when I worked in corporate. My husband owns a Surface and I'm his personal IT. So this will be a good transition for me. I'm really excited. Thank you to the Microsoft team. It's just perfect timing of how things work out. And it is really the shift that I needed to start transitioning my devices, because sometimes we don't need to be attached to things.